Hey guys, my face is very big on this video. We'll leave it like that. First, thank you for noticing my haircut. I know it looks amazing. Thank you so much. Second thing, 21.3, 21.4. I have done this video like 3 times. I did it in the garage after I finished this morning and so on. But there's so many moving parts that like I wasn't satisfied. So here it is, final take. No matter how it goes, I'm trying to keep it very contained. That intro already made it long, but whatever. So 21.3, 21.4. Let's talk about the whole workout. The mindset piece is gonna be fundamental here. How you approach it is fundamental, and there's many considerations. It's a very complex workout because if you look at it from the programmer's point of view, what they're trying to do is to weave people out. Who has toes to bar, who has chest to bar, who has pull-ups, right? Like, and so it's different workouts for different people, right? And so if I were to consider all the considerations there, I would like it would take me an hour. That's not what I'm doing. So yeah, it's a workout that like doesn't have a very clear physiological stimulus there. On paper, it looks like a metabolic beast. This is a consideration that is gonna apply to most people, but for the reality is that it's not going to be a metabolic beast for most people, right? Like unless you can finish or get very far in the muscle ups, like very far in, like almost finishing the muscle ups, this is not going to be a metabolic beast. Like sure, you're gonna be working hard. Sure, after each set of thrusters, your heart rate is gonna go through the roof. Sure, right? Like it's gonna get a little franny, but because you have rest and the barbell is a little bit low, it's not a metabolic beast. Unless again you can finish, and I'm talking to the vast majority of people that is not finishing this workout, right? And so in paper metabolic, in reality not so much. That's the first consideration. Second consideration is the strength aspect of it, because it's not going to be such a metabolic beast, and because you're gonna have enough time. It's not like I wouldn't worry too much about that, about 21.4. If you have been working on your Olympic lifting and you are familiar with complexes, it's not gonna be a big problem. You know what you're doing there. If you haven't, then I wouldn't worry either, and I'll do my best and forget about it. So both camps will be fine. And there are considerations to take, but I'll talk about them later. Good. So knowing that that's the workout that you're against, and knowing that it's a very metabolic, that is a very mindset and like strategic workout. I want to give you a kind of template that applies to most people, like, and it will apply to the scale version too. And it's like, it's very easy to fall into the trap of this workout of like, let's say you think you're flirting with finishing. Okay, how can I set up myself to finish, right? And like letting the clock and going into scarcity mindset. The same thing applies for, like, let's say you have toes to bar and you want to have a lot of time for the chest to bars, and so you're like, I have to go really fast on this part so that I can get a lot of time in the chest to bar. So what that approach has in common for everybody is that you're thinking with the timers, with the programmer's budget, right? Like I always give the example, it's like when you're trying to beat the person next to you and the person is like, how much what was your time? 17? Okay, so in order to beat you, I have to do this and that, right? And so when you do that, when you use that logic, you're making a budget with other people's money. And so that's not a very productive way. It sometimes works for sure, but most of the times it doesn't. So the way that you want to set yourself up in this workout to not fall in that trap is to think, how can I make this the easiest for me? How can I perform the best? Don't worry about how far you're gonna make it. Like if you have a set of 32 to okay, how can I make this very easy for myself? Sets of 2 or 3 are gonna be the best for most. The same with chest to bars, right? Like doing sets of 3 or 5 is gonna be the best for most. One thing that is important to consider in this workout, so like that's the driving question, like how can I make this the easiest for me, like, with my performance, thinking about my performance, thinking about my previous workouts. If you're one of my athletes, you for sure have done sets of 32 hours before in workouts, so you have an idea of what to do there. But yeah, based on your performance, how can you set yourself up so that it becomes easy, right? Like when we're trying to like finish before 3 minutes on the first part so that I can buy myself more time, you usually end up like doing decisions that are not based on your performance, and so they end up biting you, right? Like, and you end up wasting a lot of time and so on. And so think about that. The second thing is that you're gonna have to make peace with something. Most likely you're gonna be reduced to single in one of the movements. That is the truth. And if you're sure that you're not, and you know what you're doing, but most likely you're gonna be reduced to singles in one of the movements. If that is the case, go to singles from the beginning. Remember that every year in the Open, at one point, there comes this dude, Armin Hammer, somebody like him or somebody else, and makes a video in which they do the same Open workout with toes to bar or pull-ups or chest to bar or muscle-ups, and they're like, instead of doing sets of 5, I did singles and I beat my score. And every time we relearn that. So you're gonna be reduced to single. Make peace with singles. Singles are a problem for most people because they're getting their egos. They think that it's a level down. I should be doing 5s. But second is because they're fucking difficult, because you have to be very disciplined. Like short sets, small sets with short breaks require so much mental fortitude, right? Like to stay disciplined, to not let your head panic and be like, I have to jump now again, so that like I can get more, and then slowly reduce yourself down, right? Like, and so make peace with that. And totally, I did singles for chest to bars, I did singles for muscle ups, I finished that workout. So singles are totally awesome if you're doing a set of 30. So make peace with that, and not only make peace with that, but commit to something. This workout is gonna be one. Not if you can string very many repetitions together. Sure, if you can't do that, again, you're gonna finish here in another set. But like, if you know that you're gonna be reduced to singles, you're not on that boat. Make peace with that. And so approach it differently, right? Like, commit to be a very disciplined athlete that can jump off the bar, jump on the bar, jump off the bar, jump on the bar. Because, and this is now getting into the technique aspect, the meat of this workout is, of course, the gymnastic movements. They're trying to weave people out based on those, right? Like, because the 65-95 is not gonna really stop many people, right? And so that's not gonna be a problem. We'll talk about those in a second, but so consider that, like, again, it goes back to the original question is like, how can I make this very easy for myself? Right? Like, how can I make this performance so that I can, like, that it feels easy? If doing singles for 30, you're like, that's easy, awesome, do that. If you're like, I don't know, if you're not sure that you're gonna do sets of 3 chest to bars till the end, if you're not sure, like, or if you actually know that you want, then there's no point in doing that, really. That just makes that your breaks in between those reps are gonna get longer and longer and longer. You're just wasting time. You can have a much faster cadence with doing things. Anyhow, so that's the first. So I know I got into the strategy piece there, but like, they're all connected, right? Like, and so that's the mindset aspect, right? It's mindset, strategy. And like on the gymnastics, I already talked a little bit about it. If we look at the barbell movements, sure, 95-65, as I said, sounds very light, and for most athletes it's going to be, and you're fine. You're gonna be able to rock the sets unbroken. Be careful though. Be careful. If your front squat is not 180 or more, then 65 is actually not that light for a set of 15. Be careful. If you're talking, if the weight is 65 is not lower than 30% of your max front squat, then a set of 15 is pretty heavy for you, and that means that you're opening with a very clear way, like with a very close way to your 15 rep max. So I would consider totally having a break. Right, and so be very aware of that. But if the weight is like more on the, like on the 30% realm, then like you can push it a little bit, right? Like, again, and by push it I mean going unbroken. Speeding up the front squats is not what's gonna give you a better score, unfortunately. Being very smart on the gymnastics is what will, right? And so have that consideration when you're moving there. Second thing, in technical movement, in terms of the barbell, today is a shoulder intensive, chest intensive workout, because you're gonna be doing this all the time. So and then you're gonna have to lift heavy, and the jerk is the limiter for most people. So be gentle with your shoulders. How are you gentle with your shoulders? By having that bar very far on your neck and being as vertical as you can with your front squat and with your thrusters, and making sure that the bar is resting on the shoulder all the time, but nicely, right? Like, so those are important things. Use your lifters if you have them. This is a workout that you can totally do on lifters. It will help you a lot on the thrusters and front squats. That way you don't have to change them. Good. Let's talk about the last part. The 21.4. If you have been lifting, then you know your capacity. I will open at 80% of my best clean and jerk. Not best clean or jerk, best clean and jerk. Right? That's a good way to open. Or maybe a little lighter, maybe 75, 78%, depending on how that feels in the warm-up, right? You're gonna have 3 attempts. This is like a general recommendation. Your first attempt should be like around 3 minutes 30. Once you have finished, the second attempt should be around 5 minutes 30. The last attempt is 6 minutes 45, right? Like 6:30 if you don't want to call it too close. So you have 3 attempts. So the first one, it's a way that you don't want to get. It's a way that you know you will get, right? That's it. Second weight is a way that like you think you can. The third weight is the way you want, right, to get. Those are three numbers. I have a whole video on that. Anyhow, so that's a little bit the strategy, like the general strategy there. 3 attempts should be more than enough for everybody. And again, if you're new to lifting and you don't have a lot of experience there, then play with it. Like, it doesn't matter that much, right? When considering if doing squat clean or not, it depends on your capacity. It depends how good you are at the second pull of the lift of the clean. If you know how to do a deep clean awesomely, then you can do powers, no problem, and do a deep clean on the hang. If none of this is making sense to you, don't worry about it. Today is not the time to learn about it. For the jerk, don't choose split jerk unless you know for reals that is a better lift for you. For most people it's not, and so just do power jerk and that's it. Don't add complexity, right? Like, this is not the moment to add complexity. I think that is it. Those are my thoughts on this piece. One last thing, do read the standards. There's a lot of standards. There's a distance from the barbell to the pull-up bar and so on that you have to keep in mind. Do read that. Of course, like, the complex has a lot of rules, like, don't let go of that bar. So all that is important. Make sure that you're doing that. Make sure that you're reading those, because those considerations are crucial, and I'm not naming them here. Apart from that, this is a fun little piece. Again, it will get, like, it's about being smart, and that is it. Have a lot of fun, and once the open is over, I'll promise you I'll do an editorial piece on what I think about this open, because I have had a lot of thoughts. I don't want to share them right now because I don't want to mess with my athlete's view, and so I want them to be like concentrated on what matters, and I don't want it to add noise, but know that I will be doing that. Anyhow, have fun, fucking kill it, and that is it.